I'm the Commissar. We're watching Forged Alliance Forever, and you have missed a bit of 1v1 up close and personal mano a mano action. Well, with the exception of you. You know who you are. Let's get going. In the red corner, we've seen him before, first as Zayla Follerai and then as Hersher of Death, but now this is Eldritch Vantage. He's 1564 rated, he's playing as the UEF. Up against him, in the blue corner, this is Blackdeath, 1652 rated, he's playing Cybran, and it looks like they've had a little bit of conflict before this game. And literally the first thing killed in Blackdeath's factory is a lab. That is some very aggressive play. You can see he's going lab, NG to start with for a little while. He definitely wants to get some raiding going down. Similar but not quite so aggressive from Vantage, where we have 2 NGs coming out, followed by a couple of labs and a scout. So that is very aggressive play. I like that, especially on a 1v1. Speaking of 1v1, the map is Azog. And I've never actually played this map. I don't play many 1v1s, so that will be why. Only a few starting mexes, you have to go a little bit out for your 4th. Big patches of reclaim here. Of varying tile sets. I can see some grey rocks, some blue rocks, and some red rocks. And some red trees and some brown rocks. And some green trees. Lots of different tile sets there. Another thing to note, this map was made, I think, before you could build mass fabs underwater. Mass fabs? Mass storage. Before you could build mass storage underwater, and so these underwater mexes in these various tiny ponds, all but this one, come pre-capped, which is pretty interesting. However, those labs, that very first lab that Blackdeath put out, well, it's been met by the labs and scout for Vantage, and there's a 1-for-1 trade there on those labs, so did that very early lab pay off? Maybe not. We'll have to find out. Now, Vantage is going for these underwater mexes with this engineer first, whereas Blackdeath is going straight for the reclaim. I think I prefer Blackdeath's play as long as he's going, and he is, as long as he's got a later engineer, not too much later, going for those mexes. So Blackdeath definitely trying to get into that reclaim a bit earlier. Blackdeath going for second air, and you can see in the queue down there that he has got a bomber coming up as his very first play. That will be pretty good if he can kill, say, this NG or this NG. We have got air queued for Vantage, but he's gone third air and he's getting a few pigeons down first. On the other hand, we have got a slight mass advantage at the moment. Okay, so looking at the ratio, it looks like a significant mass advantage, but we know that Blackdeath is on his way to these mexes. However, Blackdeath has more total mass collected because he's got this NG, who's just taking all the reclaim, all very nice. And here comes that first bomber. We can see that the tanks and labs have just, cancelled each other out across the middle. Not really done a great deal. Did they get an NG there? No, they didn't. So that bomber, it is going to go and try and pick up this NG, which is very good. Because if he wants that mex or this expansion, Vantage is now going to have to send another NG all the way. And the scout has seen that Vantage has only just got at that air factory, and he will need those inties very soon. But while he's getting those inties, Blackdeath's bomber picks up another NG, all good for Blackdeath. Up here, this little bunch of lab and scout has taken out the NG there, but that NG's picked up about 1200 of that mass, so it's paid for itself many times over. And this bomber is going to... Is it going to get another NG there? That NG would be an amazing pickup if he could. Stop it getting this reclaim, stop it getting these mexes, but I think he's gone to focus in on the mexes in here, and Vantage does now have an inti out. However, This mech is probably going to go down. I don't think that NT's going to cat, and there is multiple T1IAs out here. But still, NT, T1IAs, all to stop this one bomber, which has killed a mech. It's killed 4 engineers, so it's doing pretty well. It's going to try and come back for another pass. Gets its bomb off, but I don't think that mech is going to die. It's going to be killed before it gets another pass. It is. Still, F's for that bomber, which did some really great work. However, if we look at the overall map, Vantage does have a little more map control right now. And this at a raid is very cheeky. Can it kill that NG? That would be really good if it could. However, Vantage has units here, units here. There's a nice little force from Blackdeath out here, but he's not really raiding that much. Vantage retreating here. Maybe he thinks there's an NG coming around, but this is all tanks. Vantage has to be careful. And what are these tanks up to? They are... Well, they're heading in here, but there's a decent army from Vantage here, and I don't think they are going to get much done. Now, we see a scout here from Vantage, and he's noticed that there wasn't anything really defending that. But that's now changed. Just after the scout leaves, we have a point defense up in that base, that expansion. It's not really a base yet, is it? It's just got some mexes in. And as soon as that radar goes up, it will see this lab and just shoot it. So, is Vantage going to react? He can't kill this engine now, he just has to run away. He can see what's going on, he's got a scout. Pop, no he is not. Over here, his tanks have decided to fall back here as more bombers are out for Blackdeath, and Blackdeath has brought in another NG to get back into all this reclaim. And that's good. He wants to get this reclaim if he can, and we can see if we look at the reclaim that Vantage hasn't got in here at all, so this is still all up for grabs. That said though, Vantage has had a consistent eco lead in terms of mass. He's ecoed more, he's got slightly more mass points, and as a result, Blackdeath is only a little bit ahead in mass collected. Fight going down here, there's more for Blackdeath, and there's also more arty in the mix for Vantage, so if Blackdeath keeps moving, he should be able to clear this up quite easily. And his NG is indeed getting well back into the reclaim. These are big rocks and he has manually killed them. That is a good choice. Again, he'll lose it, but again, this NG has already picked up hundreds of mass, 400 mass there, and it's going to pay for itself. This push comes along. This is a lot of Blackdeath's force that we can see on the mini-map. He's built up some more here, and that has taken Blackdeath back into the eco lead. However, I don't think he's going to get much more done. There is an exposed mech here, but here with the point defense, with the tanks, he won't be able to push in very hard on this. And Vantage is now getting T2 tanks on the field. He's got one NG out to build the power, and he's getting pillars out. Do we have any tech from... Well, yes we do, but he's got a lot of NGs killed at first there before he switches into rhinos. This mech has gone down for Vantage. Blackdeath is now well ahead in eco. Is that going to last though? Down here in the south, Vantage is pushing, and there is a point defense here, but there is arty in the mix from Vantage, and that said though, it hasn't really had a chance to fire enough on that point defense, and Blackdeath is going to be able to push, he's going to be able to take this back. Blackdeath keeps the advantage for the time being. And the northern raid, meanwhile, that has taken out this mech, starts moving again. But with this army right here, this point defense, is there any arty in here for Blackdeath? There isn't. There is arty here, but I don't think that the UEF arty is as good for just fighting spam on spam fights as the Cyber arty with it is. Because the Cybran arty has that amazing little stun effect, and UEF arty doesn't. But in come the pillars from Vantage, and the pillars will easily stop this. Sandwiched between the point defense and the pillars, that raid is cleared up very quickly, and Vantage is able to hold onto this position. He's attempting to attack down here again, but Blackdeath just has heaps and heaps of spam here. And the thing is, there's so many of these pressure points to look out for on the map. The expansion down here, this expansion up here mirroring it, hasn't been claimed at all yet, I don't think. And this southern reclaim field is still entirely available. There is a hydro in it, which Blackdeath hasn't claimed that one, but Vantage is claiming this one, but he hasn't gone into the reclaim. Mass totals are now about even. Ecos are now about even. It's all up for grabs, and that includes this reclaim field, but Blackdeath has sent these tanks in to deny that hydro and that reclaim field. He's also tried to push a bit further here, but there are point defences set up here to stop the two ways in, and there are pillars coming out from Vantage which will be able to shut this down. Are these two tanks going to make it out? They are not. So these pillars, I think that's more... This point defense only has 100 hit points left. These pillars can easily smash through here. And the pressure is also going on up here in the north. We had these 4-5 tanks from Blackdeath try and raid out, but there's not only more here, there's higher tech. The pillars are in here too. Blackdeath really needs to start getting pillars on the field, and here are his, well, pillars, he's Cybran, so rhinos, and here are his first rhinos coming out. Is this going to be enough to crush the pillars? Because these are 4 pillars, but they're all tech too. And this is a large army from Blackdeath, but it's only trickling in. These pillars might just be able to see it coming and walk away and pick off the Mantis one by one as they approach. Only this one Mex is left here for Blackdeath, and Vantage has the eco lead. Up here we have Tech 2 on the comm for Blackdeath. What's he planning with that? Is he planning a cheeky tactical missile launcher? That could be great for hitting some of the Mexes in Vantage's base. Is he planning a point defense creep? We're going to have to see. He'll have to build something with it soon though, because this is a pretty significant raid in the north from Vantage, and he's backed it up with a few T1 bombers to clear the point defense, which is very nice, as that means that he will lose the bombers. Blackdeath has a decent amount of inties in the area, but now these tanks can just walk through for free, and there's nothing really to stop it. Lots of empty, undefended mexes, and there is a bit of rhino production now being diverted north. We have 2 factories on rhinos here for Blackdeath. Vantage putting bomber pressure onto that production as well. If he can take out one of these P-gens, that would be very nice, and I think that's what he's going for. Yes, look at that, he has multiple T1 bombers supported by inties focusing the P-gens, but a flak is being thrown up very quickly. Is it going to be thrown up in time though? It is not. The P-gen goes down. There is another one already built though, and so Blackdeath, he's not in power trouble just yet. Immediately he tries to rebuild it, the flak will probably clear up the rest. Meanwhile though, the tanks have been doing their work, and these 2 mexes are definitely under threat. I think he should probably... These are only T1 mexes, they only take like 1 hit to kill. I think that Vantage should focus them first, so that Blackdeath actually has to go and rebuild them, because he's obviously going to lose these tanks anyway. But that's not Vantage's choice, and he loses the tanks, and he hasn't really killed much. He's taken out 1 mex with that push, which is quite expensive, so I don't super like that. Over here in the middle, that T2 comm is advancing, but Vantage is starting on the T3 upgrade. Does he have the eco for that? Well, he does have a bit of an eco lead. Do I think that 70 mass is enough to start the T3 upgrade? Maybe. Another engage in the south, but Blackdeath just doesn't have the T2 production ready yet that he needs to combat the T2 forces Vantage is pushing out, and Vantage is going to take out this expansion now. He's also claimed this one at T1, so Vantage continues to have the lead in generated eco. However, Blackdeath has been much more on point with the reclaim. Look at this engineer right now, for example, it's just coming in and picking up the reclaim field that Vantage has completely neglected here. So overall, mass totals are equal. T2 point defense up, radar up, and Blackdeath sneaks into the water. Is he going to try and pop out and put up some Cerberus here? That could be good. Over here though, again, the tech advantage is with Vantage in terms of units on the field, and Blackdeath can't afford to push with these guys. Though he can afford to nab that mech, which is nice. This sort of bomber could do some good work up here, I think. Vantage's southern raid, having taken out this expansion, pushes on. But now there are these pillars coming out, and Vantage has to be very careful with the pathfinding around these cliffs. I think the pathfinding is definitely letting him down here. And I think this raid is going to be stopped. Though it has done decent damage, it's taken out a bunch of mexes. And look at this! A T1 torpedo launcher. It's going to take out the underwater hydro. It's going to be able to take out at least one, if not two, of these mexes. And that's a really good play here, I think. Because Cyberans don't have any hover units. So, that is going to be completely safe unless Vantage goes out of his way to build from the air. Okay, that's alive. There's some mobile missile launchers, and that will deal with the T1 torpedo launcher. But it's already taken out a hydro. It's already taken out a mech. It's going to take out another mech. So good work from Blackdeath with that cheeky little launcher. However, this PD isn't going to do much good against mobile missiles. Blackdeath is trying to put up PD, starting with T1, and then he'll probably move on to T2. And he's got some tanks here supporting his comm, but this is a lot of T2 from Vantage. And I do not think that Blackdeath's comm is going to be able to hold here for very long. Yeah, look at this. There's way too much in defense there. He gets at 1 PD, but it's easily going to go down. Blackdeath is forced to retreat into the water. But I guess while he was doing that, these units were not pushing as well, and we've had a sneaky little Mantis group come in here and take up these mexes for Vantage. However, Vantage has been taking up his eco more in his base, and Vantage does still have the mass per tick lead, and he's now got the total mass lead as well. And this will have left a decent amount of reclaim, this fight here, that Vantage will be able to hoover up very easily, and he's already got these 3 NGs already on their way out, coming to pick it up, so that's nice. And Blackdeath, he has got T2 on his comm, but this is a lot of firepower. He's already into the yellow, he's already down to half health, he's already down below half health, he can't afford to stay there much longer, and into the water he goes. However, this will definitely distract Vantage's army as Blackdeath pushes in across the middle. Those pillars are going to get work done. This hoplite is a bit too far forward. Remember that both hoplites and mongeese are relatively made out of paper compared to the pillars and rhinos. They have more firepower and longer range, but they die much more easily if you get into range. And both teams are retreating to their relative aggregation points. Presumably their rally points are around here, yeah. As again, the PD creep is attempted by Blackdeath, but he's seen the mobile missile launchers. He will need to make sure he includes some tactical missile defense in that mix. And we've got one extremely cheeky pillar that's come around here. I don't think these mexes have been rebuilt yet, but these mexes, which were never properly killed off before, where that entire army failed, this one pillar is going to succeed. This pillar is going to be the hero of the game, I think, if Vantage wins. However, there are Corsairs out for Blackdeath. Blackdeath has gone T2 air. He's not going to save these 2 mexes, but he will at least kill the pillar. However, he has shown the Corsairs. That means that Vantage knows that there are Corsairs on the field, and it looks to me like Vantage definitely has more Intis, though he hasn't got the tech. And mass for mass, Intis beat Corsairs. So unless Blackdeath builds a decent amount of support for that, he's not going to get much done. Now, Blackdeath has recolonized down here, and look at all that mass drop. That's 6,000 mass there, 7,000. That's a lot there. Up here, Vantage has recolonized here, and again, Vantage still has that lead because he's teched up more, but look at this. That T3 we mentioned earlier is finished, and there are Titans out. Titans at this stage are the right choice because Titans are good against T1 and T2 units. They fail against T3 units, they just don't have the hit points to tank it. And most of the T3 units outrange them. But against the lower tech units, these Titans will do great. And as if that weren't enough, this army is pushing in over here. We have attempted Corsair defense, but there are shields in here, there's flak in here, the one Corsair dies quite quickly. And I feel like this could actually get some work done if it pushes in. But Vantage isn't choosing to do that, he's choosing to fall back a bit. Meanwhile though, he's moved on to... Look, these tanks that came in and took these have tried to raid a bit further, but the Titans stopped them. Meanwhile, Vantage has moved on to spearheads, which are, in my opinion, a rather underused unit. They're pretty cheap, and they do massive missile damage. They'll be extremely good for breaking things like this, as we're about to see, I think. Yes, look at this. He takes the missile hits, he knows what's there, and immediately he's going to fall back. He abandons this firebase, and there's quite a lot invested in this firebase, but those spearheads will be able to clean it up, essentially, with no problems. We do have a push coming in up here from Blackdeath, and while all that pressure was going down in the middle, this expansion has been cleared up, which is pretty nice. Vantage still has the eco lead though, and we've said that many times because, well, he's just teched up more. And the T3 that he's got on the field, do we actually have T3? We've only just finished T3 here for Blackdeath. He hasn't got out any T3 combat units yet. But he's gone straight for bricks, which is the right choice. Bricks will counter the Titans. And there were some Wagners in here, and that's going to be good, because look, there are 3 mexes in here. I'm quite sad that none of them have actually captured these mass storages. These Wagners are going to do the damage. There are 3 T2 mexes here, and the Wagners can kill them all, basically for free. However, the small amount of tanks left here, they have fallen very quickly to this push from Vantage, and that push has a long way to go. But if it can get here, then what is there to stop it? Because what little T3 that Blackdeath has on the field has been coming up front, hasn't it? Has it? Where is it? How many bricks does Blackdeath actually have on the field? He has 2. Whereas there are 17 Titans for Vantage. And as we've said, Titans are beaten by bricks, but 17 Titans against 2 bricks could be hard. And spearheads are offensive units. They're terrible at defense, because if a target starts moving, it'll probably miss. But they've taken out that stealth field. They're going to take out these factories. This is just going to be a slow advance, and the bricks are going to be needed to stop it, but the bricks are also going to be needed to stop this. This is a big army coming around the top from Vantage, and I don't know what Blackdeath is going to do to stop it. There are also Titans massing down here when there's nothing to stop them here, so this feels like it's going to be quite the advantage for Vantage. Ha! Didn't even expect that. Is that a pun? Is that just a nice little assonance? I do not know, but whatever it was, I did it by mistake. And in comes this T3 force. So pathfinding here means the spearheads are actually getting damage done against the mobile army, which is nice. As are the Titans, and the Titans are kiting back very nicely. Corsairs come in, and there isn't actually much anti-air in here. There are a few inties, but that's enough Corsairs to tank the inties for a little while. And here come the rest of the inties for Vantage, and the Corsairs are going to get a little bit done, but they're all going to die in reasonably short order. Meanwhile, Blackdeath has actually made an effort to take over some of these mexes that would, you might say, rightfully be Vantage's, but Vantage is coming out to reclaim them. However, Blackdeath has been in the eco lead since these Wagners have done their job. They've taken out those 3 T2 mexes, they're pushing on, they're going to take this one. And they are T2, that 1 point defense won't kill them all. I think these Wagners should immediately come here and hit that. It will at least force the Titans to be distracted from Blackdeath's main army here, which does seem to be pushing in. And Blackdeath is now putting up T2 production here. What he really needs is T3 production. And these bricks from Vantage have been enough to drive this army back. Let's have a look at what did happen here. There's just 2 bricks, but it's all about the positioning. It's all about the positioning as these tanks come trickling in one by one, and the bricks are just able to kill them as they approach. They're just going to be driven back. Vantage retaking his pond, but Blackdeath now has the eco lead. Will he be able to turn it into something good? Most of his production here, though, is still T2. He's still only got that 1 T3 factory, and he needs to reclaim these T1 factories, I think, and then cap this cap this mex. Those Titans we mentioned earlier, they are going to be able to raid down here and hit these mexes. And Blackdeath's going to have to be careful, because what's he really got to defend here? That said, he hasn't teched up here yet. Where's all his tech? Where are his T2 mexes? I mean, he's got a few there. Oh, he's got that one at the back, which is nice. But mainly it's the damage he's been doing to Vantage's eco that means that he's been able to take the eco lead, rather than any of the work he's done with his own eco. And in he comes, and this is a big army, and it's got bricks in. Have we got Percy production yet from... Yes, we do. We do have the first few Percys coming out from Vantage. And Blackdeath is going to have to be careful, because... Oh, there's more Percys up here. So, this army, I think, is going to be outmatched by the T3 production in Vantage's base, and he's got a bit of bomber support as well, just to add a little bit more damage. And don't forget that the Scorchers do lots of damage over time, so they're very good against large armies, just to wear them down a bit. And looks like Blackdeath knows it. He's retreating to the water. He's falling back with his army. One cheeky Titan has made it through here, and he's going to take out some mexes, but there's been enough brick here from Blackdeath to defend at least this expansion. However, Vantage is wasting no time in coming out to claim the expansion that he's bagged. Up here, the bricks from Blackdeath have taken out these mexes, and this army feels like it's being wasted from Vantage. He's trying the torpedo trick again, is Blackdeath. It worked last time. Is it going to work this time? Up it goes, and it's going to start firing on these mexes. But I don't think it's going to last. That Percy will range it easily. He should have put it like here. I mean, this NG should have put it here. That would have been much better. See there, that Percy's seen it, and it's just going to knock it out. Will it even kill one mex? Okay, yes it will. And he's trying it. Okay, that's a flag. That's a flag. But the Percy army is quite big now, and it's coming forward. Blackdeath has again taken the total mass lead as well as the eco lead, and he's out here with his fighter bombers. He's bombing the bombers on the ground, which is quite funny, but there's so much inti support from Vantage that I don't think courses are going to get much done. Bricks coming out to try and raid again, but there's a lot of Titans here. Bricks beat Titans, but do Bricks beat that many Titans? I don't know. And Blackdeath comes out of the water. Is he what's he planning here? He's planning Cerberus point defense. He's planning a point defense creep, but this feels like a mistake. This feels like a mistake because there are 2 Percys and a Titan here. He's already on half health. The Cerberus is immediately popped. Blackdeath moves forward, trying to get an overcharge in, but he's already on 2 more Percy hits. Kill it. He's on 1800 hit points left. He tried to go, and he's down. He just went too far forward. He overextended. Would he have won without that overextension? I don't know, but that was a mistake, and Blackdeath goes down to Vantage. What a game. What a misstep. Just walking into Percy's and dying. But if he hadn't fallen victim to those Percys. Do you think Blackdeath could have taken it? Or do you think he still hadn't got enough T3 production online? Tell me in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and obey. I'm the Commissar. I will see you next time.